Hey, Andrew Sutton here, founder of Dance Ninjas and teacher in over 231 cities across 35 countries. And I want to give you a tip that's going to inspire both you and your students to want to do more private lessons. And it's all about the topic you choose to teach during the lesson. There's really three ways that we can teach a private lesson in the subject of creating the topic. Right? And I often see people doing the first two, and I'm going to talk about why the third one is really valuable. So the first way we can do it is you can let your student choose the topic, right? And this often happens when someone comes to you and says, hey, I'd like to take a private lesson to learn this move or to learn something specific, right? And that's great because they buy into what they want, right? They're really excited about taking that lesson from you. The negative side of it is that if they ask you to teach them something that you're not really excited about, if you agree to it, then you're kind of selling out, right? You're kind of selling your soul, teaching something that you're not passionate about, right? And in order to stay a teacher for the long run and to be happy about it, I want to make sure you're always passionate about what you're teaching. Now, the second option is you can actually choose the topic yourself and you can say, okay, this is what we're going to learn during this lesson. I think you need to work on X, Y, or Z, right? And that's really great because then you're excited to teach them whatever it is you're sharing, but it doesn't necessarily get them to buy into it and to actually be excited about it themselves. And so after a few of those, they might stop taking private lessons from you, or they might just not be as passionate about it as they go through them. So it creates less of an ideal experience. And the third option is actually to give them choices where you actually say, okay, you can learn A, like we can work on musicality, or we can work on connection, or we can work on this or that. And the great thing about that is you're the one that's choosing the things to offer them, but then they're the one that's actually making the choice on what they want to learn, right? So you get to stay passionate about what you're teaching, and they get that buy-in on a subconscious level of, I am picking this, I want to learn this. On last Saturday's teacher training, I actually go into this in a little bit more detail, so I'm going to share that with you now. And the reason why I want them to have a choice when doing a private lesson is because I want them to own whatever it is that I'm teaching them. Right? And if I just come into it saying, okay, this is what you're going to learn in a private lesson, they're not owning it as much. They're not choosing it, so they're not buying into what they're learning on I want to say on a psychological level, on a subconscious level, I want them buying into it as well. And in a group class, you have the chance of giving a description, right? You say, this is what we're going to work on today. And people show up to that class or they don't based on the description. So they've already kind of bought in based on the description. In a private lesson, it's usually that you're just coming together to help this person in some way, right? But it hasn't really been defined yet. Another way to do it would be to talk with them before you ever set up the private lesson. Just ask them, what do you want to work on in that private lesson? And that gets buy-in. However, the problem with that is that sometimes what they want to work on might not fit with what you want to teach, right? And for me, it's really important that I'm always teaching things that I'm passionate about and things that I want to teach. Otherwise, I risk burning out, right? And selling my soul, right? If they ask me just to teach this cool move to them, but I'm not really passionate about teaching that move, then it's kind of selling my soul to teach something that I don't want to teach. If you want to teach that move, great. Go for it, right? The only thing is this evaluation process and giving them choices allows you to give them options that you're excited about and get the buy-in from them to actually do whatever it is that you're asking for. Does that make sense? So, do you see how valuable it can be to actually give them choices on what to work on so that you stay passionate about your dancing, the student stays passionate about taking classes from you, and you just have overall more enjoyable lessons for both of you? So if you want more tips on how to improve your students and inspire your students and keep them coming back for more, as well as getting lots more students into your classes, I've actually got hundreds of tips for you available in our members area of Dance Ninjas. So go ahead and check it out at www.danceninjas.com and go to the online lessons for teaching, for dancing, or for growing your dance scene.